Saturn in Aries, thinking about it from a skateboarding perspective, Saturn in Aries is very much the protective gear, I
There you
would
go.
think. Like
Right,
that
but
no one wants to wear. Like no one, everyone's
right.
like, I don't want to wear a helmet. It doesn't make me look cool. I don't want knee pads, but it is it makes a difference. Hello, astrology enthusiasts. Welcome to episode 2 of the AstroBabble podcast. My name is Misty, and this is Dani, and we're here today with the astrological forecast for the month of February. And we're filming this on January 19th, and already I feel like the first month of 2026 has lasted a decade.
Agreed.
February seems like it'll be a month focused more on progress, but still some surprises and navigating the confusion that follows such events. So, Dani, how was your take on January? How has January been for you?
Well, I'm Aquarius rising, so all of this Capricorn stuff has just made me sick. Like today is my first day back in normal life, really, from like since we recorded last. So other than that, like everything is going on in the world. So I don't know, too much. What about you?
Yeah, it's just been like just the same stuff. Like my personal life has been okay, very like liminal, just waiting, but just navigating that with like society at large. It's been
Yeah,
very like I've had to set boundaries with myself with social media.
for sure.
Because I definitely get lost in the doom scroll and looking at how the world is right now. So
Post and ghost, post and ghost, post and ghost, post and
Post
ghost.
and ghost. That is my plan right now. If anyone's like, why aren't you responding to my messages? I'm not there.
Yeah, yeah. So I mean, I agree. Like there's just it's so easy to get lost. But I mean, we talked about how we expected this month to be just cleaning up the apartment before you move into the next one, and that's really what's going on.
So, Dani, looking into February, the month ahead, what is your take on the first week of February?
Okay, so the first week of February, so Sunday, February 1st through Saturday, February 7th. So this is going to be like full expression, sudden disruption, and then emotional recalibration. So we start with this big full moon in Leo, which is going to be a spotlight moment, and then we get a jolt of Uranus, surprising energy because Uranus is going to station direct and then also square Mercury. And then Mercury is going to move into Pisces and is going to ask us to stop trying to logic our way through everything. So this week is going to feel loud and then electric and then watery. Okay. So first on February 1st, we have the full moon in Leo. So in the collective, we can look for visibility, pride, and performance energy. Leo full moons bring I want to be seen energy to a peak. So we should expect big moments around leadership, celebrities, attention, economy, art, romance, parenting, and ego clashes. And with the sun in Aquarius opposing the moon, the collective is going to feel split between I need to stand out and I need to detach and think bigger, which is exactly what we're talking about with the social media post and ghost thing. So, we personally in our personal lives are going to feel extra sensitive to rejection, silence, and being overlooked. We may have a surge of confidence or a surge of why am I not appreciated energy or feelings. And then there can be big emotional conclusions like, is this what I actually want? We're going to be asking ourselves that. So, how to prepare for this full moon is that you would ask, where am I craving validation instead of creating true alignment? It would be helpful to do something Leo approved, like showing your work, dressing up like you mean it, and letting yourself take up space. But you want to avoid making permanent decisions from temporary dramatic feelings. So, in general, this full moon is asking you to choose courage over coolness. Then on February 3rd, Uranus is going to station direct in Taurus. Yay, Uranus is finally heading to the next phase so we can move on with our life. So when Uranus is in Taurus, this is disruption around money, resources, food supply, land, market, stability, and the body. And so when a planet stations, this energy gets extra loud. So this is like the ground shifting under a system that was pretending it was stable. Now we've been going through this for years, so it shouldn't be completely surprising. We should be aware of these themes that are happening, but this is a big moment because this is the last station. You may see news stories or personal events around sudden spending, surprises with income, tech shifts that impact everyday life, and value changes. So, what's worth it suddenly looks different. Like, how much are eggs going to be? We'll see. What we might feel is restlessness, impatience, I need freedom now energy. We're also going to have a strong urge to declutter life down to essentials only. Throw it away, do it. And then nervous system activation. So there may be insomnia, jumpiness, and irritability. So you can prepare for this by getting grounded in Taurus ways. So eat real food, touch grass if you can find it under the snow. Simplify spending and move your body slowly and consistently. So, the best question this transit asks is what is actually sustainable? So, just remember that Uranus direct in Taurus is a reminder that stability is not the same thing as safety. Then on
Mm.
the yeah, then on the 5th, we're really going to feel that because Mercury in Aquarius is going to square Uranus and Taurus and really make us think about what Uranus is doing, this final giant shifting that we're dealing with. So the collective themes are fast news cycles, hot takes, leaks, tech chaos, and communication disruptions. So breakthroughs happen now, but also blow-ups. So this is classic, unexpected announcements, last minute changes. I can't unsee this now, like you are forced to look at it, and people speaking out impulsively. So we could feel mentally overstimulated. We could feel, I need to say this right now. I have to get it off of my chest right now. And then we could also have brilliant ideas, but scattered execution. So we can prepare this. If it's emotionally charged, wait 24 hours before sending the message. Okay.
Yes.
Text later. This is a great day for innovative problem solving, brainstorming, and breaking old thought loops, but it's not great for ultimatums, texting during a nervous system spike, or forcing certainty. So this is genius electricity, but don't let the spark become a fire.
Hmm.
And then on the 6th, Mercury is going to enter Pisces. This is a huge shift. So we're going to have this like big breakthrough. Oh my gosh, I see it. I can't unsee it. And then we're going to have to not have a lot of confusion, like not really know what to do with it. So we're going to shift from thinking about our ideas to thinking about our feelings. The world's going to get more poetic, symbolic, and tender, but also a little foggy. Conversations are going to become more about intuition, spirituality, compassion, meaning, grief, healing, and forgiveness. And we may feel softer edges, more empathy, but also more confusion, and strong dreams, synchronicities, emotional memories resurfacing. So we can prepare and work with this by using the Pisces Mercury intentionally. So journal instead of forcing a conclusion. Okay. Let things be unclear for a minute. Just know they're going to be. Choose music, art, prayer, water, rest, and say what you mean plainly. Pisces can hint, hope, and assume, and then feel disappointed. All right. So people cannot read your mind. Once you know what you want to say it, but also just be aware this is a really confusing time for everyone. So Mercury in Pisces asks, can you trust the truth you feel even before you can explain it? That's
Ooh,
for week. What do you think?
I am really excited for Mercury and Pisces.
I agree.
I know
Yeah,
that might be a hot take, but I feel like for those of you who are like me and get stuck in analysis paralysis, thinking through the details, I think it's a much needed break to just be like, what do I actually feel about this? And
right.
connect back to your intuition for guidance. So I'm
For sure.
excited for that transit.
I think we're going to have a lot of feelings to think about, especially with all of this Uranus energy happening right before this. We're also going to like have, like, there's a lot of unavoidable conclusions coming in your face at the beginning of this week, like with the Leo full moon and then all the Uranus stuff. Like we can't unsee it. We can't like keep our head in the sand. And so we're just going to have this stuff kind of hit us in the face. And then we get to not ignore our feelings about it. And
Mhm.
maybe it will be a good thing for Mercury not to be so strong,
Yeah,
so that we can like not get stuck in analysis paralysis, exactly like what you just said.
exactly. So, yeah, it seems like it'll be a dynamic first week
Yeah.
of of February.
Yeah.
Going into week two, so February 8th through the 14th, we kick off week two of February on the 8th with Venus in Aquarius squaring Uranus in Taurus. This week begins with potential for creative breakthroughs, but also likely some friction and topics of love and romance, especially as we gear up for Valentine's Day at the end of the week. This day is a day to experiment. If you're a creative person, experiment with your art, experiment with your relationships, maybe try something new within your relationships. Maybe trying something new within your appearance as well. Sometimes you do need to shake up stagnant energy by trying something new, even if it's uncomfortable at first. However, this is also an energy of like needing to try something new, but maybe not being super receptive to it at first.
Yeah.
So just bear that in mind. Like you need to try new things, and there can be resistance to doing that. So it's kind of this energy of like you dye your hair a new color and then you don't like it at first. But I think with some time you will come to love the new hair color.
Yes, or figure out what to do with it at least.
Or figure out what to do with it, and then what's next will be even better. Um, on the 10th, we have Venus entering Pisces. So this is the planet of love and attraction and value entering the sign of its exaltation. Yes, Venus in Pisces believes in the romantic story that we're all sold of the princess and her knight in shining armor. Very fantasy driven, very romantic, very like imaginative, even. And I think it'll be like a really delicious time. And I think this is the perfect thing to be happening right before Valentine's Day because the ruling planet of Pisces, Jupiter, is also currently in the sign of its exaltation in Cancer. And so it's just like brings in this extra comfortability in your love realm, in your sense of like beauty and artistry, even. So from February 8th to March 6th, this is your time to really indulge in your romantic fantasies and wrap yourself up with whimsy and nostalgia. I'm really excited for this one.
Eat some chocolate, drink some wine, take a bubble bath.
Yeah, take that bubble bath. The following day, on February 11th, we have the beginning of the Mercury retrograde pre-shadow period. This begins whenever the forward moving Mercury hits the same degree where it will end its retrograde in the weeks ahead. So, roughly two-ish weeks before Mercury actually stations retrograde. And I think it'll be a rough Mercury retrograde potentially with Mercury in the sign of Pisces already debilitated, adding on the retrograde on top of that. So I recommend using this 2 week period from the 11th onward to just prepare for Mercury retrograde. Um, get your ducks in a row, get that oil change, ship that package, make the appointments you need to make. And one thing I personally love to use this time for is making my Mercury retrograde dopamine menu. If you don't know what that is, I will definitely have my how-to article posted on my website at mercurialgirlstudios.com. On the 12th, we have the Sun sextiling Chiron, and Mercury in Pisces conjunct the North Node. This is a really good day for intentional recovery. Chiron in Aries receives a nod of encouragement from the Sun in Aquarius, almost like this realization that you do, in fact, have people in your corner. And then as Mercury in Pisces meets with the North Node, it's a good time to go within and really trust your intuition regarding the path forward. And this is a day when progress comes with intuitive, empathetic understanding. Again, very much so based on those feelings. Kind of this like, what's next in the chapter ahead? Okay, and then on Valentine's Day at the end of the week, February 14th, Saturn enters Aries.
Yay!
Um, I'm excited about that because I've been going through my Saturn return in Pisces for the last 2 years.
Yeah.
So congratulations to the Saturn and Pisces people out there for completing your Saturn return. I know it was a growing up period for us. And Saturn makes its way out of Pisces wishy-washy waters and into the fire of Aries. And for those of you who have natal Saturn in Aries, this means your Saturn return is here. So, starting from now until April of 2028, you are in your massive growing up period. And Saturn, for all of us, is just not comfortable in Aries. Um, our inner Aries, think of the stereotypes. It's the part of us that wants to be a pioneer. It's a part of us that wants to impulsively forge ahead. And Saturn comes in and puts that energy on a leash. And metaphorically, the image that I love for this transit is think of Saturn and Aries as here to teach us the proper way to start and sustain a fire even when it feels tedious. This is like when you go camping and you have that person who like actually starts the fire from like a piece of like flint and then like they're fanning the flames. They're not compared to previously they might have been that person who just like dumps lighter fluid all over the
Yeah,
wood and was like so
that's
you're
funny.
you're learning right now how to actually start a fire um and to keep it going. So good
All
luck.
right.
Okay, Dani, do you have any thoughts?
I just thought maybe we should talk a little bit more about Saturn and Aries.
Yeah.
Yeah, so what like this was in the 90s last time, right? So like 95, 96. Is that right? Do you have those dates?
I think it started in 96.
Okay. Yeah, that makes
Yeah,
sense.
so the
So that
96 babies are having their Saturn return.
so that's like skater boy energy,
Ooh.
right? But also Saturn and Aries is like your grandfather trying to skateboard. Like maybe it's not the best idea, but also like who even skateboards anymore? So maybe only grandparents can teach you how to skateboard.
I actually think you're right about that. I think you're right about that. Because you'll notice a lot of the like people who were into skating around that time and like grew up states like on the skateboard, they're all older now, like in their 40s. And
Yeah,
now we're seeing like older and older people rocking the skateboard,
right.
even when
Because
they maybe shouldn't.
I mean, here's a hot take. Like I predict that skateboarding is going to come back while Saturn
Ooh,
is. That's my prediction.
okay.
I don't know. I
Skateboarding's
just feel
making a
like
comeback. I
I think it
believe in
might.
this.
But I'm thinking about like the skateboard style too,
Hmm.
right? Like the baggy jeans that don't make sense, and
Yeah.
the thick soled tennis shoes are already back.
Hmm.
Are there things that like don't actually make practical sense? Like why would
Like
you wear
what?
that? Like why would you wear big baggy pants or shorts when you're skateboarding? But they all do.
Yeah, I guess that would make sense. You might like practically want something that fits closer to your like skin.
yeah, like the likelihood that your pants leg goes underneath the skateboard or these like trailing pieces of jeans wrap around a wheel is high,
Hmm.
right? Like it's so can we if you could think about Saturn like that, like Saturn wants things to make sense and be very practical and make decisions based on that. And what about the skateboarding world makes sense?
Saturn and Aries, thinking about it from a skateboarding perspective, Saturn and Aries is very much the protective gear, I
There you
would
go.
think. Like
Right,
that
but
no
you
one
don't
wants to wear. Like no one, everyone's like,
like
I don't want to wear a helmet. It doesn't make me look cool. I don't want knee pads, but it is it makes a difference. You're gonna be less likely to like skin your knee to the bone if you
right.
fall.
Yeah, so this is the choice that we're all going to be asked to make over the next 2 years is whether we're going to wear protective gear.
Ooh. Wear a helmet. Wear your
Like,
helmets, you guys.
like, do we want to be cool or do we want to die?
Ooh. We'll see. We'll see what comes up.
Maybe it won't be that big of a deal, but you know what? But I mean, Saturn's high stakes, so wear your helmet,
Hmm.
friends.
Wear your
Wear
helmet, you
your,
guys. Wear that
yeah,
protect. If you're gonna act reckless, have your safety measures in place.
yeah. But who wants to do that? That's very what the Saturn energy is.
Hmm.
Like, okay, we can learn how to build this fire, but we have to do it in a very protective area where there's nothing that can accidentally catch on fire, like an empty
Exactly.
room, you get it. Yeah. All right. So I'm sure we'll be talking about this for the next 2 years.
Yeah.
So anything else you want to add or ready to go to the next week?
I think we've said like the basics. It's really just, a new era of growing up for everyone. So
A new
it's
era.
gonna
And
be
it like,
difficult. It's gonna
I
be
mean, Saturn
difficult,
and
but
Pisces did not make sense, but Saturn and Aries doesn't make sense in like an existential way.
yeah.
It's like it's like a child king or a grandfather skateboarding. Like it's either of those things.
I love these analogies.
So doesn't make sense. All right. So moving forward into this show that we've joined, February 15th through 21st. This is a massive week. Okay. Like we thought that was big. It is, but now it's about to get bigger. So it's going to feel like the collective gets shaken awake and then immediately asked to surrender control. So wake up, but you're not in control. So
Oh,
on the 16th, the sun in Aquarius is going to square Uranus and Taurus. This is more of that squaring energy that we've been getting from the planets that are hanging out in Aquarius. So this is system disruption energy. So sudden reversal, surprises, and that wasn't on the schedule. That was not on my bingo card energy. Volatility in tech, money, markets, and infrastructure. There's going to be collective agitation feeling around freedom versus stability. Like, which one do you want? And then there's going to be people refusing old rules because they feel outdated overnight. And that's probably going to also have to do with the Saturn and Aries energy as well. So Aquarius wants the future, but Taurus wants what's reliable. And so this square says something has to give. So we're going to feel restless, impatient, and easily overstimulated. We'll probably be in a rebellious mood and want to change everything immediately. There will probably be nervous system spikes, so maybe sleep disruption, anxiety, and irritability. And then clarity arriving through inconvenience. Like I didn't realize how trapped I felt until you can't ignore it anymore. So you can prepare for this by not clinging to the old plan. So build plan B energy into your week, give extra time. So, Mercury is in shadow as well. So in general, I would just give yourself extra time this whole week.
hmm.
Don't force certainty. Instead, ask what is trying to liberate me and ground in the body. Again, this Taurus medicine. So hydration, protein, sunlight, movement, less scrolling, more somatic regulation. So if your day gets interrupted, don't assume it's a setback. This is a course correction. Then on the 17th, we are going to have a new moon in Aquarius that is also an eclipse. So this is not a normal new moon. This is an eclipse new moon. This means we're heading into eclipse season where the veil between the worlds is its thinnest. Okay, so pay attention to the things that show up these 2 weeks in between eclipses because this is the universe trying to kind of like tap you back on track. This energy is bigger. The timeline feels like it accelerates during this time, this eclipse, in between the two eclipses, and things can begin without you fully deciding them. So this can show up collectively in technology, AI, the internet, networks in general, activism, community and movements, the future, reform, innovation, and also outsiders, outliers, and new social rules. So
Mhm.
collectively, this can look like major news in the tech, social media, politics, community systems, shifting alliances, new rules or new narratives forming fast, and people unplugging from old mental conditioning. So we're going to feel heightened intuition right now, but also weird mental static. There's going to be a desire to detach so that you can see clearly, and a sense of, I can't go back to how I was thinking before. We'll also feel a strong urge to reinvent ourselves. So we can prepare for this by setting clean intentions with zero desperation. So only set one or two intentions. Don't like try to put a bunch of stuff on your plate. So I'm building a future that supports my freedom, and I'm choosing community that actually fits me. Avoid forcing outcomes. Eclipses often reveal the path in stages. Like we just might see the very beginning of this, but more is going to be revealed. And then watch the impulse to blow something up just to feel alive. So this eclipse isn't asking you to be certain, it's asking you to be aligned. This is a big deal. Also, it's the first one in Aquarius.
Mhm.
So they're shifting. So when the nodes move, that's when we have sudden beginnings and sudden endings. And they have been happening between Pisces and Virgo, and now they're shifting to happen between Aquarius and Leo. So this is also like a first hint of what we can expect over the next couple of years while the nodes are in this axis. Then on February
Exactly.
8th, the sun is going to enter Pisces. We get to be in our field some more. So this moved from Aquarius logic is into Pisces feeling. So it's going to go from our feeling, our shift is going to be from what's the plan to what's the meaning. Collectively, we're going to see more compassion, grief, spirituality, art, and emotional reflection. We're going to have an increased sensitivity to suffering and less tolerance for cruelty. We'll have a stronger longing for relief, softness, and surrender. I also think that this Pisces season, while the sun is in Pisces, is going to feel particularly like empathic and empathetic because Saturn's not there. This is the
Mhm.
first time I've been able to like experience just Pisces without Saturn or Neptune for that matter being in there for years. So this is like pure Pisces energy that we haven't really been able to explore. And so how that shows up in your life is going to be interesting to see. So we're going to feel emotionally porous. We're going to feel tired in a deep way, like our soul needs sleep, not just our body, probably particularly because Saturn's finally gone. We're going to feel more psychic. We'll have vivid dreams, symbolism, and synchronicities, and we're going to be less motivated by productivity and more motivated by purpose. Something that I like to think about Pisces season, at least in the Northern Hemisphere where astrology was originally created, like this is hibernation season. Like we're not really supposed to be going off and being productive right now anyways. This is the time when we're supposed to be inside and asleep. So choose fewer obligations, let your nervous system exhale, especially after the eclipse. And the best practices during this time are going to be journaling, music, water rituals, prayer, meditation. Creative work is going to be better than forcing solutions. So after a week of awakenings, Pisces season is going to ask you to soften without collapsing. On the 20th, Saturn in Aries conjoins Neptune in Aries. Oh my gosh, this is huge. So we're going to feel it building all week along with all the other things. So Saturn is structure, commitment, boundaries, reality. We've been talking about that. And Neptune is our dreams, spirituality, dissolution, and illusion. So together they create a collective question. What if the dream requires discipline? What if the fantasy has to die so the truth can live? So this can show up as a collapse of illusions and institutions, especially religion, media systems, and leadership. This is accountability around deception, denial, and escapism. And it's going to be a push to regulate or define Neptune things. So this could be AI ethics, propaganda and disinformation, what is truth, what is not, spirituality and wellness culture. And then there's also going to be narratives around drugs and addiction and mental health. So this is faith meets form, spiritual movements becoming more structured or exposed. So this is also an end of an era energy. So it's not always dramatic in a single day, but it's going to be unmistakable in hindsight. So this day, it may not feel like, oh my gosh, everything changed. But when we look back in 6 months, a year, whatever, you can see something really did shift around this time. So this can feel like your old coping mechanisms stop working, that denial becomes impossible, that you're asked to commit to what you actually believe, and a dream gets grounded into a plan or revealed as not real at all. So, this is where people either build the thing or stop lying to themselves about the thing. We're going to feel tender, heavy, serious, introspective, emotionally hungover from the truth, weirdly clear, even if it's sad, and sensitive to energetic boundaries, overwhelm, fatigue, spiritual burnout. So we can see this as spiritual adulthood. So if you're overwhelmed, simplify and structure your days. If you're avoidant, name the truth out loud. And if you're disillusioned, rebuild faith through practice, not fantasy. Well, the best question for you to ask yourself is, what do I need to make real right now? So this week, the universe stops accepting your excuses, but it also hands you a blueprint. I really like that this is happening at the very beginning of Neptune's transit through Aries,
Hmm.
as opposed to what happened with Pisces. Neptune just came in and washed all of this stuff away, and there was no structure at all. It was completely just like driving on a road in a foggy night. There's nothing to see until Saturn showed up and was like, okay, we can see the lines a little bit, like our fog
Yeah.
lights are working. But this time we at least get the opportunity to set up our systems beforehand, like check your fog lights beforehand before Neptune destroys everything in Aries. We at least put
Check the
some
fog
lines.
lights.
Yeah, check your fog lights. Do you have any other thoughts on Saturn meeting Neptune? I mean, it's a big thing, but it's also
I
like
mean,
I
you
don't
really
know how
you
to
really
talk
hit
about.
on it, and we've been experiencing this dance between Neptune and Saturn in Pisces. Like they've met up before in Pisces, and I am really excited to see what can come from it when in Aries. There does seem to be a lot more energy behind it, but it's like this energy of like running through a fog instead of
Yeah,
just trying to like sit and like be shrouded in fog. It's like you're trying to run through it. You don't know where you're going, like you said, check the fog lights.
yeah,
But carry a torch with you, like build the fire on the torch, and that can
yeah,
probably help guide you through those foggy
yeah.
areas.
If you
um
if we want to continue with the like building fire analogy that you brought up for Saturn moving into Aries, it's like we're trying to build that fire on the beach.
mhm.
And so, like, there's sand everywhere. Like, is tide going in or out? Like, understanding these rules around what the beach means is probably, I mean, that's going to be the whole Saturn transit too. Like, not
Yeah,
only is Saturn and Aries doing the stuff that we talked about with the skateboarding and stuff or whatever, but it's also happening on the beach where there's sand and tide and water and rain and all this other stuff that Neptune's bringing in.
exactly. Exactly.
Lots to think about.
There are a lot to think about. I like what you said about the Sun in Pisces transit, how it's going to be our first pure Sun in Pisces transit without Neptune, without Saturn there. And
Yeah,
I'm so looking forward to that. Like, you have no idea. Like, think about the Pisces area of your life. Like, which house slash
right.
houses is Pisces in for you? What have you been really like held back from within the last few years? What has felt really confusing to you in that area of life within the last few years? And it's an opportunity for the sun to really like shine a light on it without there being like things in the way.
And also, while this is happening, like Venus is there helping us clean up and helping it make like feel better. And like,
Hmm.
regardless of how hungover Mercury is dealing with this, he's still there. Like, I mean, he's going to be going through his retrograde. He doesn't like to be at this party, anyways, but he's still there. He's still there doing what he needs to do. So to have all of this energy happening in our Pisces area of our life right when Saturn and Neptune have left, I think is a blessing from the universe. Like, yeah, you just had to go through a bunch of drama, but the house party's over. Let's replace the carpet. Let's paint, So it's helpful that we're getting this cleanup energy instead of just like having to put it under the rug, instead of just
Yeah,
having to hide it in a closet somewhere. We
exactly.
get the opportunity to clean up the mess.
Ugh, I can't wait.
Hallelujah.
Okay, going into the last week of February, week 4, February 22nd through the 28th. This week kicks off with Mars in Aquarius, sextile Chiron and Aries. And metaphorically, the energy of this day reminds me of the first time you start seeing progress after joining a gym.
Mm,
Maybe you're finally noticing how running is starting to feel easier. Maybe you have a little bit more stamina than you used to. Maybe you're just starting to notice the changes in your body and your vitality. Those weights don't feel quite so heavy to lift, and maybe you can start sustaining a little bit longer. So, on today in particular, taking consistent and sustained action, I think, can lead you to feeling just more capable.
mm,
And so I think that's going to be a good day to finally just like take some time to recognize your progress.
yeah.
Yeah. On the 26th, we have Mercury stationing retrograde at 22 degrees of Pisces. So if you have any placement around that 22 degrees of Pisces or the other mutable signs, so it's going to be Virgo, Gemini, Sagittarius, and Pisces, look to see what you might have around there because that's going to be where this retrograde is going to be really impacting you. And that goes retrograde at 12:48 a.m. Central. So most of us might be asleep. But from now on until March 20th, everyone has a fish brain, and we are definitely not swimming in a linear direction. This is
Around.
your time. Yeah. No, don't worry about forward movement during this time. Like, allow yourself to withdraw, go within, slow down. It's definitely much needed with all of this Uranus energy we've experienced in the weeks prior. Like, there's a lot that has come to a surface, there's a lot that has changed. And when that happens, it is good to like withdraw a little bit and slow down. And with any retrograde, remember the rewords: revisit, review, redo, renew, etc. I think a good way to use this time is to just connect with your inner self, grant yourself forgiveness and unconditional love for anything that you may have been too critical over in the past, and reconnect with any spiritual practices or artistic practices that you used to do. And it's like a this energy of putting trust back into your intuition. So if you fall out of a meditation routine, this is your time to reconnect with that and really like go within and connect to that intuitive self. On the 27th, we have Mars squaring Uranus and the Sun conjunct the North Node. On the macro level, I am really curious how this day will play out in society at large because Mars in Aquarius squaring Uranus and Taurus, we've experienced a lot of this type of energy earlier in the month, but Mars brings in a more aggressive dynamic. Um, it brings unexpected and potentially aggressive social friction, while the sun with the North Node in Pisces really spotlight this empathetic pull towards maybe a savior complex, victimization. It's this energy of like really having to look at something and really having to feel it and at the same time having to do something about it. It's like this energy of maybe someone's gonna have a little bit of a savior complex of sorts. But yeah, I am curious how this will go for the collective. On the individual level, I would say be cautious today. Mars squaring Uranus is accident prone type of energy, shattering a glass, cutting yourself, those little things. Just be mindful of accidents that could happen. The last time I experienced this transit, like personally with transiting Mars squaring my natal Uranus, I started a fire in the kitchen, had to put it out, and then immediately after, I accidentally shattered two glasses all over the floor.
Oh
So,
my gosh.
yeah, just be careful with that Mars Uranus combo.
Yeah, it's big
Um,
energy you have to react to right away, or it's going to be a bigger crisis.
yeah, yeah, big energy that you have to react to. And then wrapping the week up on the 28th, we have the Mercury retrograde conjunct Venus and Pisces. So I love this. I think it is a very romantic type of energy, very good creative day. If you are a creative person, this is also a time that I would choose for maybe date night, maybe revisiting a date location that you've been to before. However, this day is also like writing a poem about your ex. We could be very like nostalgic right now. Mercury in retrograde is bringing up issues from the past. Venus there is reminding us it's kind of like romanticizing. Maybe you're romanticizing the past a little bit too much, romanticizing certain interactions, and maybe revisiting old conversations. So don't like if you feel compelled to text an ex today, I would say don't just write a poem about it or something. Make a piece of art about it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I could imagine. I'm not usually that type of person who's like, oh, every Mercury retrograde, your ex is going to come up. But this is very much, especially meeting up with Venus and Pisces, it's very much a texting your ex type of energy.
Let
So
them text you. Let them text you.
you don't have to respond.
Yeah, they're an ex for a reason.
Exactly.
Or they're not. I mean, sometimes they come back. But all right. So that's February. Yeah. This month is not quiet and it's not here to be convenient. It's here to wake us up and reroute what is not aligned to get us back on track and ask us to build the next chapter with intention instead of momentum. So let February be the month you stop negotiating with what you already know. So no more pretending, no more shrinking, no more waiting for perfect conditions. Move with clarity, keep your standards, protect your peace. And remember, breakthrough energy is still breakthrough energy, even when it arrives as a disruption. So, Misty, what do you have going on the next month? And where can people find you?
As far as what I have going on, nothing too crazy. I did just start a new video series called Astro Cinema, where I basically do video essays, and it's not like the typical talking head video. It's like telling a story style. So I'll have my first Astro Cinema episode posted actually today on January 19th, but you'll be able to find that on my website at mercurialgirlstudios.com. It is about the previous Neptune and Aries transit in the Wild West. So
Cool.
I'm pretty excited for it to launch today.
Awesome. I love it. And
Yeah.
people can find you at Mercurial Girl Studios.
Yeah,
Huh.
mercurialgirlstudios.com.
Awesome. All right. My plan for the next month is I've got my daily horoscopes going on social media. So you can find me at Planets in Praxis. I know that's so easy to understand. Planets in Praxis. It's like a religious practice, is what a praxis is. So I'm using astrology religiously. Anyways, so I do daily horoscopes. I'm also going to open up my books this month, I think. So you can check out my website, Planets in Praxis, if you would like to have me look at your chart. Planetsinpraxis.com, Planets in Praxis on all of the platforms. I'm on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, TikTok, and X. formerly known as Twitter. So find me on all the places. Other than that, thank you guys for listening. If you love this episode, please leave us a review. It helps more people find the show and share it with a friend who needs to hear it. We'll see you guys next month.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.